is it terror? Officials investigating the deadly shooting in Pensacola looking for a motive. The Secretary of Defense weighing in as we learned about the accused gunman's trip to New York just days before the shooting. Plus, the new information about the victims and the bravery between the bullets.
Impeachment showdown, the new phase on Capitol Hill starting tomorrow, and why Republicans are asking for a delay. Plus, the Democratic candidates who may have to put campaigning on hold for a possible trial in the Senate.
Shooting plot foiled? The suspect accused of carrying out what police are calling a rehearsal of a terrorist mass shooting. The chilling images from inside a hotel room and the tip that may have stopped a tragedy.
Powerful storms, parts of the West Coast swamped by torrential rain. Strong winds downing trees. We're tracking the wild weather now heading east and the temperature roller coaster.
And Tannenbaum, the official state fur that's lighting up a fiery debate.
And the scandal that's going on in the State House right now is absurd.
Is it a thing of beauty or a Christmas tree catastrophe?
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's get straight to our top story. The latest on the investigation into whether that attack at the Naval Air Base in Pensacola, Florida, was an act of terror.
Overnight, a scene we've watched play out in so many American communities, a vigil for the victims of yet another mass shooting.
And we're learning new information as we come on the air this morning. Investigators looking into whether the gunman, a member of the Saudi Air Force, was acting alone. They also say he made a visit to New York City in the days before the attack.
Also this morning, other military bases across the country are on alert. For the latest, we turn to ABC's Stephanie Ramos, who's in Pensacola. Good morning to you, Stephanie.
Eva, good morning. Law enforcement officials say they're continuing to follow leads that may help them understand exactly why the gunman opened fire here at the Naval Air Station. Authorities say they're taking a look at his social media footprint, his writings online where he expressed anti-America hate, his phone records, but also his classmates.
This morning, several classmates of the Naval Air Station Pensacola gunman are now undergoing FBI questioning after Friday's deadly attack. The Saudi national, part of a training program for international military personnel here in the U.S., opened fire, killing 3 U.S. Navy sailors and injuring 8 others, including law enforcement officers. Investigators looking into whether the attack was motivated by terror.
I can't say it's terrorism at this time. I think we need to let the investigators, the FBI, do its work.
The FBI now retracing the steps of 21-year-old Mohammed al-Shamrani, a second lieutenant in the Royal Saudi Air Force, including a recent trip to New York City, where he visited several attractions. That visit now believed to be tourist in nature.
Over 10 patients confirmed.
Al-Shamrani killing 23-year-old Ensign Joshua Watson, 19-year-old Airman Mohammed Sameh Haitham, and 21-year-old Airman apprentice Cameron Walters, all students at the Naval Aviation School's command. The shooter then exchanging gunfire with sheriff's deputies who eventually killed him.
Do you believe the threat in your community has been eliminated?
Right now, I'm not prepared to make a statement affirmatively or negatively on that. We're in consultation with the FBI, but I have additional questions that I want to answer.
Brave acts of heroism emerging from the horror.
There's going to be individual acts of courage that you're going to hear as we move forward with this. But I spoke to one deputy today who said that after he was shot, he was placed by another deputy into a chair for quick mobility, and then they were trying to wheel him out to get him to the emergency medical service that he needs.
A community now in mourning, coming together to find peace, including nearby service members stationed at Naval Air Station Pensacola.
Pentagon officials say al-Shamrani started training here in the U.S. in August of 2017 and was scheduled to finish next summer. Now, since the attack here on Friday, commanders at military installations like this one have stepped up security, implementing increased random security measures at their facilities. Eva.
Stephanie Ramos for us there in Florida. Well, the battle over impeaching President Trump hits a new phase tomorrow with more testimony before the House Judiciary Committee. ABC's David Wright joins us with the latest from the White House. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Eva. When the Judiciary Committee gavels its hearings to order tomorrow, White House lawyers will not be present. The administration has signaled to Congress that the president will not mount a defense until the case moves on to friendlier turf in the Republican-controlled Senate. President Trump won't say if he plans to testify in any Senate impeachment trial.
Well, I don't know. I know this, that the impeachment thing is a total hoax. The numbers have totally swung our way. They don't want to see impeachment.
But Trump told reporters his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is gearing up to present a report, even as the House moves to impeach Trump for allegedly pressuring Ukraine to dig up dirt on his political rival. The president's personal lawyer has been in Ukraine unapologetically doing just that.
He has not told me what he's found, but I think he wants to go before Congress and say, and also to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice, I hear he's found plenty.
Two of Giuliani's associates are already under indictment by the Justice Department for possible campaign finance violations. Both men have pled not guilty to the charges.
This administration's level of obstruction is without precedent.
Meanwhile, the House Judiciary Committee is expected to get an update tomorrow from the Intelligence Committee on its findings. But Republicans are asking for a delay because the Intelligence Committee only transmitted its documents after Speaker Nancy Pelosi made her announcement Friday that impeachment is moving forward.
The facts are uncontested. The president abused his power for his own personal political benefit.
Republicans accuse the Democrats of rushing to judgment. Quote, "It is impossible for judiciary members to sift through thousands and thousands of pages in any meaningful way in a matter of hours."
Nothing came out of the conversation except good relationship with Ukraine.
One more significant development to tell you about. Tomorrow, the DOJ's Inspector General is expected to file his report on the decision by the FBI to wiretap a Trump campaign associate in 2016. This makes good on Trump's pledge during the Mueller campaign to investigate the investigators. Now, the IG is an independent government watchdog. The administration is now hedging its bets with a separate report, that one overseen directly by Trump's Attorney General. Whit?
All right, David Wright for us at the White House. Thank you. Now to the 2020 race, where impeachment may be overshadowing other issues for Democrats campaigning in Iowa. Less than 2 months now before the caucuses there. ABC's Rachel Scott is covering the race from Cedar Rapids. Rachel, good morning to you.
Hey, Whit, good morning. Yes, the next phase of the impeachment investigation is brushing up against a critical stretch in the Democratic primary. We are less than 60 days out from the first vote, and now the candidates and voters are weighing the possible impact. Joe Biden wrapping up the most intense swing of his presidential campaign yet.
I don't think it's hyperbole to suggest there's never been as corrupt administration in modern history.
The former VP closing out his 8-day, 800-mile bus tour throughout Iowa, still dealing with the fallout over this testy exchange with a voter.
And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. He was challenging what kind of shape. So I kidded. I said, want to do a push-up contest? I was joking. Look, I'm in pretty good shape.
Which is what Donald Trump says a lot. Hey, you can't take a joke. I was joking.
No.
But the point
don't compare me to Donald Trump.
Out on the campaign trail, some of the candidates now bracing to be pulled away during a pivotal stretch as Democrats in the House turn up the heat on the impeachment investigation. Of the 15 candidates running for president, 5 would serve as jurors in a possible trial in the Senate of the president they are hoping to defeat.
I take no joy in this, but this is about a constitutional oath.
And that means doing my duty for the country by being at that trial, but also getting back and forth, especially to the early states.
I'm going to take an oath to be an objective juror.
Ahead of the next impeachment hearing, Democratic voters considering the stakes.
I think this impeachment stuff is a fiasco. I think it's a mess.
I think it's information that probably would not be put out there in front of the voters if they weren't going through the hearings.
It's important that we hold the president accountable.
With the Democratic nomination on the line, the candidates are also facing another challenge, the deadline to qualify for the last debate of the year. So far, 6 have made the cut, but as of now, no candidates of color. And some of the candidates say the lack of diversity on that debate stage is not representative of the party. The DNC is defending its debate criteria, calling it fair and inclusive. Dan?
Rachel, thank you so much. We have so much going on in politics this morning, so we brought in a big brain, George Stephanopoulos, our chief anchor. Good morning.
See if I can live up to that.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see. So let's just pick up on what Rachel just said there. A huge percentage, as you know, of the Democratic Party is made up of people of color, and yet we're looking at a coming debate with perhaps no candidates of color. How big of an issue is that in your mind?
Well, people have noted it, but I'm not sure that's the fault of the DNC or that race has anything to do with the fact that those candidates didn't make the stage. I mean, Kamala Harris started out strong. She raised a ton of money. She had 20,000 people at her first rally. She qualified for this debate. She could have been on that stage this week, and yet she decided to drop out because she doesn't see a viable path going forward. There were very low barriers to entry in this race this time around. At one point, we had 25 candidates, 13 of them, more than 25 candidates, 13 of them have dropped out right now. But it's one of the questions I'm going to bring to Cory Booker this morning when he joins us on This Week.
Speaking of the Democrats running for president, let's talk about another thing Rachel brought up, which is that if this impeachment process goes to a trial in the Senate, there are going to be five presidential candidates who will be pulled off the trail to sit in the Senate as jurors, and it's going to suck up a lot of attention, continue to suck up a lot of attention, which might otherwise, at least fractionally, go to Democrats running for president. So is a Senate trial potentially quite bad for the Democratic presidential hopefuls?
Depends on which Democrats you're talking about. First of all, I'm not sure that lack of attention hurts the overall field. Sometimes when there's a lot of scrutiny, it can actually, it's one of the things we've seen, whoever has gotten into the spotlight has tended to then hit a wall, whether it's Elizabeth Warren, who was doing quite well, and then hit back, or Joe Biden being the front runner from the start. But if you look at the fact of the Senate trial, almost certain to be coming up, could it help Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden, who can be in Iowa and won't be jurors in that Senate trial? For the senators who will have to be jurors, maybe they can use that as a moment to show their qualifications, to show their skill. It won't necessarily hurt them, but it's clearly something that they're all going to have to factor into their strategies.
Yes, this is four-dimensional chess. Let's talk about, let's continue with impeachment. Something David Wright mentioned in his story about the latest in this process is that now we're expecting Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, to deliver some sort of report on Ukraine to Congress. What do we know about this, and what's your take on this development?
Nothing if not bold. I mean, the president is being impeached because of his efforts to get Ukraine to investigate one of his political opponents, Joe Biden, and the Democrats. Rudy Giuliani's efforts are at the center of that effort, and yet we saw him this week in Eastern Europe and Ukraine saying he was working on behalf of the president to do this, and the president saying, basically, it's okay with him. He wants to see the report. I expect the Democrats are likely to pounce on this right now. It will increase calls for Rudy Giuliani to actually come and testify, which of course he's refusing to do, and the president's other top aides are refusing to testify. But I think it also shows that the president, his attorney, and the Republicans feel unburdened and unbowed by the charges. They're not going to change their behavior in any way.
And their base seems, at this point,
so
solidly behind them. As we said, a lot going on this morning. Really appreciate you coming in, George. Thank you. And I want to remind everybody, George has a big show this morning. He's going to speak with two top members of the House Judiciary Committee, Representative Zoe Lofgren and Representative Matt Gaetz, plus Senator Cory Booker, as George mentioned, discussing the latest in the 2020 presidential race, and the Powerhouse Roundtable debating the entire week in politics. It's all coming up on This Week later this morning. One other thing to tell you about, we're going to have full coverage, led by George, of the impeachment hearings beginning at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. George, thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Whit, over to you.
All right, Dan, overseas now this morning, North Korea is saying it carried out what it's calling a, quote, very important test at its long-range rocket launch site. The site had been partially dismantled, but it has now reportedly been rebuilt as denuclearization talks with the U.S. have soured. North Korea isn't saying what the new test included, but experts think they may have been trying out a solid fuel engine for an intercontinental ballistic missile.
Well, back here in the U.S., overnight, 2 police officers shot to death while on duty in 2 different incidents in 2 different states. 32-year-old Houston Police Sergeant Christopher Brewster was gunned down while responding to a domestic violence call. The officer was able to radio the suspect's location and description before dying, leading police to that shooter. And in Fayetteville, Arkansas, an officer was gunned down in the police department's parking lot. Officers responding to the gunshots shot the suspected gunman. Both he and the officer died from their injuries.
Well, the flu season is off to an early start, the earliest in 15 years, according to the CDC. At last count, 26 states and Puerto Rico reporting high or moderate levels of flu-like illness. And the Food and Drug Administration reminding everyone that antivirals are not the best defense against the flu. Dr. Jen Ashton is joining us now with this GMA Health Alert. Dr. Ashton, always great to see you. We appreciate it. I want to ask you about this new drug that's getting a lot of buzz as the flu season picks up here. It's been out for about a year. What do people need to know about it?
Yeah, good morning, Whit. This is the new kid on the block in terms of treatment for influenza. It's called Xofluza, that's the brand name. It's the only single-dose oral regimen approved for people 12 years of age and older, so it's one pill, ideally taken within 48 hours. It is expensive. Without any insurance coverage, it's about $150, could be as low as $30, depending on insurance. Compare that with generic Tamiflu, which could be around $50.
And what about those who think that they can just skip the vaccine and take medicine to deal with the symptoms as they come if needed?
Yeah, you know what, you've heard me say this before, there's a big difference in medicine between prevention and treatment. The flu vaccine, as vaccines go, far from the most effective we have, but it is the best we have. So think of this like a seatbelt. It doesn't guarantee you won't have a serious injury in a car accident, but it's still recommended.
And one thing that you've reminded of us with this before is that it's often hard to tell the difference between the flu and other viruses this time of year.
Yeah, there are a lot of viruses circulating now, Whit, not just influenza. The key with influenza, it generally comes on fast, associated with high fever, headache, cough, chest pain, sore throat. Common cold generally gives you symptoms above the neck. Flu, really the whole body. Best prevention, hand hygiene, getting enough sleep, and again, just if possible, stay home if you are sick.
Always important information. Dr. Jen Ashton, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Get that shot.
Exactly.
Yes.
I got it.
Doing it. Rob is,
oh, great. Here we go.
Rob is Mr. Public Health.
Dr. Rob Marciano.
Well, I invite the flu. You know, get a couple days off, hang out at home. Kids got to stay away.
Dr. Jen is jumping out of her chair somewhere right now, lighting her hair on fire.
She's going to come find you next week.
Fake news. I always welcome a visit from Dr. J as well. Hey, guys, good morning. We want to show you what's happening in the West. San Francisco got a lot of rain yesterday. You don't see flooding in San Francisco proper too often, certainly not waist deep, but they had it pile up quickly. There are a couple of inches in town, over 5 inches north of town. Even, I believe those are steps down to the BART, looking more like the New York City subway in a summer rainstorm. So a mess there, still raining across parts of San Francisco down to Los Angeles. Bit of a southern stream here that's really clocking San Diego. This is all pushing inland, and a lot of snow above in the mountains as well. It's really piling up in Lake Tahoe and some parts of the Sierra. And then this quickly traverses the mountains tonight and tomorrow, and the energy gets into the plains here as we go through tomorrow. Detroit probably get some rain for this, and then down to the south. This front's going to really start to take shape as we go through Tuesday morning, Austin, Dallas, Little Rock. And then the stark difference in temperatures. This is something that's going to be very interesting as we go through Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Watch how the temperatures drop. We go from the 60s to the 30s Wednesday morning, and some of this rain could easily turn to snow in D.C., New York, and through Boston. How much falls here, we'll have to see, but could see a couple of inches develop and accumulate, and that will create a problem on the roadways, certainly there. And before that, 2+ inches of rainfall on top of some snowpack here. We could see some flooding issues. So Tuesday, Wednesday, really going to be a mess here in the U.S., eastern U.S. That's a check on what's happening nationally. Weather-wise, here now is your local forecast.
Well, hello and happy Sunday. Meteorologist Alex Liggett here. A chilly start across the region. Temperatures, they will moderate some into the upper 40s later this afternoon under partly cloudy skies. Now, clouds and precipitation chances will increase tonight and through midday on your Monday. So expect wet roads across portions of the region to start the work week. Temperatures, they will moderate as well into the upper 50s by Monday evening, lower 60s on Tuesday. Have the possibility for some rain to wet snow on Wednesday. Temperatures back in the 30s on Thursday.
Some of the coldest air of the season coming in behind this storm. but I feel kind of warm. Do I seem warm to you? Am I getting
I'm not touching you. I'm not getting anywhere
Are you
close
trying to
you,
call the
Mr.
bosses to tell them you're catching the flu?
There's something coming on here.
You're going to be getting texts from the CDC in
Exactly.
5 minutes.
I'll be home under the covers.
He has been tailgating with the college kids, though.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right. Yeah.
True.
There's that.
Yeah.
Well, moving on now to the Christmas tree unveiled at a state capitol and why it's brought some outrage. Janae's here with more. This is a debate that is not only happening in the state capitol, but it's happening in a lot of houses across America.
Right, all over. It is a Christmas controversy there in Rhode Island that's got residents picking sides of a debate pretty much as old as time. A real Christmas tree or fake? This morning, uproar around the Rhode Island State House days after the governor revealed the state's first ever artificial